Welcome to the Second Season Podcast, a podcast for athletes, entrepreneurs, and families chasing legacy. I'm Mason.
And I'm Danny. And today we got a special bonus episode for you.
Man, we have been getting some amazing feedback and questions from you guys, and we want to formally invite you today to please send us your questions. Send us your feedback. We love talking about this, and that's why we're making this episode today, is we've gotten some really good questions, some good questions that I'm going to ask Danny. Danny's going to ask me, and we want you to know that we want your feedback. And as a reminder,
it's a new year.
It's 2026, so send us your goals too, because we want to know, what are you striving for? That gets us fired up. And it's something that we can talk about on this platform as well.
Yeah, super excited.
So let's dive into this. We got some really good questions. I wrote a couple down, Danny, that I want to ask you.
Yeah, I got a couple too.
And I think it's going to be super valuable for people.
Think so. Yeah.
Whether it's an athlete or somebody in business, like a lot of these questions about life and the journey, it applies to a lot of people, right?
For sure. And so, I think the big reason why we're doing this too is like, we don't want people to have to recreate the wheel. Like,
for sure.
Telling people about our experiences, hopefully it's something you don't have to go through yourself. So hopefully, you can rub off on some things off you.
If you think that like you have to like climb the whole mountain without ever knowing how to climb it, like that brings anxiety.
For sure.
Right? Like,
for sure.
Like learning from people who hopefully are relatable to you, that you know are good people as well. Mm-hmm. Like that brings clarity,
100%.
right? And clarity offsets that anxiety. But
100%.
Okay, so I got a good one for you, DK. I want to start us out. So it says, this is a really good question. This is from Ryan Shaw. Ryan Shaw, my guy.
Great
client,
dude.
Friend of mine.
Shout out Ryan.
Trains the youth kids, pours a lot into the generation behind him. So love these questions, by the way, Ryan. First one is, what is a leadership belief, DK, that you have changed your mind about?
A leadership belief that I've changed my mind about. I would say, I think when people talk a lot about leaders, you feel like as a leader, you have to be doing everything yourself. And you don't. As a leader, your job is to put people in other positions that they're going to excel at, and that ultimately at the end of the day, they're probably going to be better in that position than what you would be yourself.
Yep.
So, I think when I first got started, I felt like I was carrying like this massive heavy backpack because I felt like I had to control everything within the business. But now the more that I've done it, there's other people out there that are way better in marketing or way better in sales or way better, they're just better in specific fields. And maybe I would say for sure I'm not nearly as good in some of those fields, but I also know what I want to spend my time on and what fills my cup up. You always talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I would have answered that question the same way, in the sense of learning that you're not that important,
dude, it's
in your
hard.
Operation, right?
Dude, Patrick Bet David always talks about, he's always made the most money when he's like not the first guy, when he's like the fifth guy.
Yep.
Right. So it's putting people in those positions that are going to be successful. It's going to fill their skill set and they're going to be happy doing it. I think it's super true. And I'm learning that right now. Like as I'm trying to scale my business, like I want to do a lot more projects this year.
Yep.
It's hard to give some of that control up. Like it just is, but I think, that's something that I've learned that I'm constantly working towards.
Yeah, this just made me think of, I get mentored and coached by Tom Conkright sometimes, who's one of the greatest leaders here in West Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And the last time we had a meeting, he was telling me of how he's developing his company to where him and his partner, they're not making any of the decisions. His leadership staff that he has, quote unquote, underneath him, right? Running the company, they're making all.
Dude, I think it's
decisions.
big too. Like a lot of the people that are in the day-to-day of, if that's being a transaction coordinator, if you're a real estate agent, you're doing a lot of deals, like the people who are on the front lines, at least I ask my TC a lot of the times, like, what can we do different? Like what makes more sense? Because they're the one that's doing it every day.
For sure.
Is there going to be something that's going to make more sense for you and more sense for what you're doing? Probably on the same wavelength though. Like leadership belief, now that you've been an LO for 6 years, built out a team, you got some LOAs.
Yeah.
You've really got some momentum. Is that a big thing for 2026 for you? Like more delegation, or what is that going to look like?
Yeah. So I would say 24 months ago was when it really hit me that delegation is a really good thing. And what I said by my comments of you're not as important as you think you are is that naturally, and what I heard you say is that like you feel like you have to do it all on your own, right?
Yeah.
And then you end up on an island, which is why entrepreneurship is a journey where you do want to be around like individuals, even if it's not somebody that you're working directly with, but just like somebody that's on the same journey, right? There's some comfort, which
sure.
I know like comfort's the drug. I get all that, but like there's just some really good vibes with high level acquaintances and friends who are on the same journey as well, right? So 2 years ago, I always say like my team has bully cards for me for my life, and I love it. And that is because I need them to be operating at the highest, that they possibly can. And when they need me now so the ship can keep moving.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of boundaries that I have that you and I have talked about that I'm still working on myself. But when it comes to my team, like when they call, I answer, bro. And that is because of exactly what you just said and exactly what you and I have learned from the leaders ahead of us of that you can only go so far alone, right?
Yeah.
Like what thought, and that leads us back, like this question was, what is a leadership belief you've changed your mind about? And like the leader, you're only as good as the people.
The weakest link, dude.
100%.
We talked about that in basketball all the time.
Think about this. You go to a high level hoop run.
Yeah.
There's one dude who can't play defense.
He's gonna get picked on.
Done.
He's gonna get picked on.
You're
for sure.
completely done.
Yeah.
And but the mid-level hoop run or the rec, it's okay.
You can get away with some of that
because
stuff.
there's some other people that are out there that aren't playing defense as well. But you go to one high level run.
Yeah.
Where one dude can get exposed.
Everyone knows.
The entire run's different.
Yeah. I think too, like on the delegation side, we talk about like leverage. So going back to the question of what's a leadership belief, like every business owner knows that in order to get to some like a high level of their business, there needs to be some sort of leverage.
Yep.
And that can either be through delegation of like other human beings, like AI, other resources that we have, or two, it's going to be through capital. So it just depends on what your business model is and how you want to scale it. But it's really been challenging for me to let things go. And I'm a micromanager, man. You care so much about your business, right?
Yep.
I think it's the thing that probably people struggle with a lot is you care so much,
Yep.
but you got to be willing to let it go.
Yep. So good.
Cool. All right.
Good.
All right. Let's bounce to this next question. So I've got here, what leadership belief took you the longest to master?
Master.
Yeah, this was an Instagram question
Well,
too, so crazy.
I'm far from master
Okay.
on a lot of my leadership beliefs and characteristics. Am I a work in progress? And am I interested in who I can become as a leader? Of course, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing about leadership is that it's a never ending journey of learning, adapting, growing, looking at yourself in the mirror, not just thinking about yourself, but also having to be the best version of yourself to show up in that motivational realm, right? For your team as well.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like, and there's just something about there's something about a sports coach who's fit in coaching or who hooped, right?
Yeah.
Knows the game.
Yeah, they've been through it.
Coaching.
Yeah.
Like something about a fitness trainer who's jacked, right? That's training you.
Yeah.
There's just something about that, staying in the game.
Yeah.
And the industry that we are in, a lot of the leaders ahead of us, and it's not all of them, and this isn't a negative thing. This is just me stating a fact that it's more about their team and not them in the game, which is great, right?
Yeah.
Uplift your team, but to lead them, you better understand how the game still works, right? So it's really just important of being in the game as much as you possibly can because it's an ever-changing arena.
Yeah, and you're going to get left behind.
100%.
Yeah.
So I would say that the main thing that I am focusing on mastering, and this is deep and this is something that I will continue to learn how to do because my heart and my mind and my soul tell me one thing, but then also the emotional intelligence side and the grace and the patience I'm trying to instill into my leadership as well tells me another thing. And that is that if they don't want it as bad as what I do or we do, that's okay. It doesn't not make their journey valid. Right. And I used to think that they had to want it as bad as I do. Why don't you want it as bad as I do for you? But I'm working on like, I want them to want it as bad as what they want it for themselves.
Yeah.
And everyone's bar is different on that.
For sure.
Everyone's bar is different. So like somebody on their journey that wants X but wants to value XYZ, right? Like if that's for them, peak, that's what I want for them.
Yeah.
Instead of an unsaid expectation internally that I want for them, because I don't want to resent or have any negative thoughts about like, do they want it as bad as I do? No, like I just want it to want it as bad as what you want this all to look like for yourself.
Yeah. It
Right.
can be anything you want. I mean, from any level.
Yep.
From any level.
And you don't have to be the top performer, but like you do have to not let your teammates down. But more importantly, you can't let yourself down.
Yeah.
Like I've seen so many people be like, oh, they just don't want to let the client down. They don't want to let their friend down. They don't want to let their colleague down. They don't want to let anybody else down. And all they do is let themselves down.
Dude, so on Monday, it's kind of funny you talked about that. So on Monday, I turned down a listing. So like my big goal for 2026 is like, I'm trying to take a step back on the agent side of things.
Yep.
And we'll focus more on my portfolio myself. Like, dude, it was hard to say no. Just because I know that that's income that could be coming in that I've been doing for years, but it's not in line with what my goals are going to be. And I know it's going to pay me more in dividends down the line, being able to say no, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it's hard.
It is, because you start the journey and you have to say yes to everything, right? Like it's like, think about growing up playing sports, any opportunity you had to work on your game or work on your craft, you take.
I think a big difference too between loan officers and real estate agents is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think most real estate agents, there's a lot more negotiations regarding commission and what people are actually going to get paid. But like when you're a LO, like you're probably taking all the business that you can get.
You have to.
Yeah, all that you can get. But like as real estate agent, I think a lot of people like they can pick and choose.
Right.
So I think it's just a big difference too.
Yeah, you have to. And that's why it's so important that you build your boat with your people, because you want the opportunities that are coming to be from your people,
100%.
Because that's what keeps the spark. That's what keeps the fun.
Dude. And like even just being a buyer's agent or like working with buyers on like the loan side of things, dude, there is probably, and I think a lot of other real estate agents out there can agree to it, is when you like help a buyer get into a house for the first time, you help close that loan, like, dude, that is a great feeling.
Oh yeah. I always tell my friends when they pick me to help, right? I always say, hey, I've put a lot of work in to not let any other individual affect my mental. But I want you to know that by you choosing me, this affects my mental in a very good way. Because like that is the best feeling, right? When somebody picks you, and like you don't want validation from other people, but like when you can help them and you care about them and you're like just grateful that you can be a part of it.
For sure.
Like that feels so good.
Yeah.
So really, really good question there. Okay, I got one. I got a good one.
Okay.
And that is, and this is something that, you know, I've seen you do in a very quick period of time, but also it takes some others longer, and that's okay, right? So, and what this question is how do you think athletic development translates into business development?
I would say you're going to deal with a lot of adversity growing up, knee surgeries, wrist surgery, rolled ankles, like you're going to get knocked down. And like your response is way more important than the setback. And I think that's applicable to like being an athlete, or as well as being a someone who's a professional in business. So, you know, I think it's hard when you're running your own business. You feel like you're winning not a lot of the time, but to be able to wake up every day and work hard and be disciplined and be consistent because you know where you want to go, that's I'd say probably the most applicable thing that helped mold me, especially in my childhood, and playing sports to where I'm at now, where I'm not going to give up. I'm just not. So
it's you versus you, and you've already made the choice. Right.
And we'll figure it out. I'm not giving up. So
and that's such a good question, because it's something that I talk about a lot and that I think about a lot, and that I talk with the younger generation, and that's the translation of those, like we said, the dark side of the beast, right? And one of our first episodes, and it's the translation of that humility and that perseverance. Like I remember specific times, dude, I broke my femur bone and I had a full leg cast on and I'm laying up staring at the pitch black ceiling on the floor of my living room with my mom sleeping on the couch behind me because she knows I'm depressed, that I'm done hooping, just taking care of me because I couldn't even pee by myself because I had a full leg brace on.
Yeah.
It's the worst, right? But like those moments, like it shapes you to handle the stuff later in life. And that is why I think like the development side of athletics translates into the development side of business in such a good way that it's really hard for me to believe that an ex-athlete in the right environment won't succeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They've dealt with so much adversity. So many things have just been thrown their way that you just, and it's just life at the end of the day. You just deal with it. You navigate it. You get up, you ask the right questions, you be curious, and you keep pushing forward.
And so like, let's take that a step deeper and go a step further on this. So when we were growing up, if we wanted to get better, or if we wanted to go work on something, or if we knew that we had it's a big summer, we got to get ready for the next year, what did we do? Like we went and played a lot, right? And what was the one thing that cured that fear going into a big game? It's knowing that you were prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I've hooped the last 5 days. Like I'm not doing anything different than what I do right now. Like it unphases you, right?
Yeah.
That is why the transition from being in the game to being a high level performer in the game as an athlete, it's the same thing that happens at business. And let me explain a little bit further. So in the basketball game, right, or a soccer game or football game, whatever that may be, you get a couple opportunities in the beginning when you're getting good or developing.
Yeah.
So if you mess those opportunities up, or if those opportunities don't go your way, think about what it does to your mental. It's like, oh, I had 3 opportunities, whatever it may be. Let's use basketball as an example. I had 3 shots.
Yeah.
I missed 2 of them.
Yeah.
I suck.
Yeah.
Right? So
let's
let's translate that to later in their career as they've developed. They got 15 shots up in the game because they have plays running for them. They missed 4 shots, which was more than they missed when they first started, but they made 11.
Yeah.
And that miss doesn't cripple them. So let's think about business. So you're starting your business out.
Yeah.
You're broke.
Yeah.
Opportunity comes. You don't get it. Right? So hard on your mental.
Really hard.
And then later in life comes where you have a garden. You've built your business. You know that, okay, this opportunity fell through, but you're not fazed by it because of the other opportunities that you are getting to win at, right? So like it's the same thought process of you're getting buckets, so the misses don't matter.
Yeah.
And then it happens in business too, where you give as much as you can. So you build the circle of influence where there's so much opportunity that those 2-3 opportunities, like those 2-3 buckets in the beginning of your journey, they don't stand a chance of mentally defeating you.
Yeah. Dude, when I remember when I first started like cold calling, like one, I think it's hard for a lot of people just to be able to pick up the phone and call a random homeowner and ask if they're interested in potentially selling their property.
Yeah.
Dude, like I would be fumbling. I would be absolutely fumbling the bag. Like not even like don't even know what questions to ask, but like eventually getting the question of like, I'm just curious if you'd be interested in selling your property, but like you got to take at bats.
Yep.
Like it's a volume game. Like you got to take at bats, and that's the only way that you learn. But like I remember getting stuck on the phone. I remember there was this deal in Muskegon, and I think the house was worth like $150, and I asked her if she wanted to sell the property, and she asked me a question. I couldn't even respond. I just had to hang up. I like didn't even know. So like it's just taking the reps. You gotta be told no a lot. Like you gotta put yourself out there to do it.
Right.
So
well, that's amazing. And like this was an episode that we wanted to do before our next episode that we're very excited about.
Yeah.
And
I'm super ready for
the feedback and the questions is what inspired this, right? Bonus episode. We had to meet up. We're getting some really good feedback. And again, if you didn't hear me in the beginning or hear us in the beginning, this is your formal invite. Send us some feedback. Send us some good questions. You guys engaging with us has been the most fun
fun
of this.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
And I think you heard a lot about like just things that we've gone through right through the previous 4 episodes, but like we are so excited to bring guests on who are in the professional world now, who are still professional athletes, and talk about their story and things that they've done and what's molded them to think and go throughout their life, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. Really excited.
Same. Second season podcast for athletes, entrepreneurs, and families chasing legacy. If this relates to you, if you guys like this, tap in. Please subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube, on all social media channels. I'm Mason.
I'm Danny.
Peace.
Second season starts now.